Lycoming Mall in Pennsylvania, another Crown American that has fallen on hard times. It was only until a couple of years ago when the mall was doing just fine. However, acute anchoritis set in, and that has led to a growing exodus from the mall. Join me for a walk around. Before we get into the history, I would like to warn you in advance for the disjointed cuts in the video. I had to record the walk in segments, dodging some eagle-eyed patrons and security alike. To make matters worse, the stabilizing gave out in one of those segments, forcing me to edit out part of it entirely. So this video is coming with a few compromises. Lycoming Mall's plans were initially announced in 1975, calling for over 670,000 square feet of retail space. GB, Hess's, and Sears would be called in for the original anchors. Eventually, Hess's would open up ahead of the mall in March of 1978, with the rest of the mall following suit later in July, and then Sears in August. Those two girls we passed by, they saw the GoPro in my hand. They only asked a question or two about it, but that definitely threw me in for a surprise. Someone figured me out. Fortunately, they never snitched. As the 1980s rolled in, the mall would be doing well, and this would lead to a roughly estimated $5 million expansion that would make way for Bon-Ton. These plans would eventually be executed in 1985. Meanwhile, JCPenney would relocate from Williamsport to settle in with the mall. This likely would have killed plans for a second regional mall in the downtown area, which was being entertained by another company at the time. The 2000s would experience some turbulence, but the mall managed to stay on its feet and correct these issues. Crown American would disband, selling most of its mall portfolio to Pennsylvania Real Estate Investment Trust, Lycoming Mall included. GB couldn't stay alive, and would over time get replaced by Value City. Unfortunately, Value City didn't last either, leading to its replacement by Burlington Coat Factory in 2008. Meanwhile, a closed-down Borders Books would get replaced by Books A Million in 2011. However, as we get closer to current year, the turbulence would worsen for the mall, with Radio Shack and The Gap leaving the mall in 2015. A sign of things to come, The Gap would open up an outlet store in the nearby Lycoming Crossing shopping center. And around this time, Duett would sell the mall off, and it would be bought by, you guessed it, Kohan Retail Investment Group in March of 2016. I swear, I'm not singling Kohan Retail out. This is just how the schedule fell. I promise I'll talk about someone else's mall next video. Kohan Retail would operate the mall under the name Lycoming Mall Realty Holding, and that's when the mall would experience the beginning of the end. I can't say this was Kohan's fault, as many stores were restructuring or shutting down operations around this time. Macy's would shut its stores for the last time in March 2017, followed by JCPenney in July. Sears would shut its doors in January 2018, And finally, Bon-Ton would close in late 2018 as the chain experienced liquidation. That is how a mall can die through no fault of the owner: acute anchoritis. All of the anchors, with the exception of 1 or 2 juniors, all shut down within 1 year of each other. What is the fault of the mall owner, however, are the unpaid bills of water, sewage, and power. The mall would lose power for a day due to an unpaid electrical bill in August 2018, while the mall would face a potential auction in February 2019 due to unpaid bills for water and sewage. However, a partial payment would prevent this auction from happening. Come on, man, you gotta pay those bills. While the mall seemed okay during my visit in 2020, it feels much as if I caught this mall just before it fell over the edge. The interior continues to empty out and wither away. Dick's Sporting Goods would announce plans to relocate from the mall to the Lycoming Crossing Center nearby towards the end of 2021, and this will likely have already happened by the time this video goes up. With only Macy's being filled in by a storage unit, and Burlington and Books A Million remaining as the only proper anchors left, it looks like the Lycoming Mall's final chapter will be coming up soon. With Schuylkill Mall no longer in existence, the Lycoming Mall is one of Crown American's best works for a classic mall of the 70s and 80s, and I am glad to see that it was left mostly preserved for us to see today, save for some tampering here and there. It just has a nice cozy feel to it with those planters and tile work, and of course, I would come to spend some time sitting down and just admiring the sights while here. Even though it was the peak of the restrictions in 2020, there were still a decent number of people out and about. It's just a shame that this mall had no significant anchors to draw in larger crowds. With the way this mall is just falling, I have little doubt that this mall will be demolished in favor of some outdoor center, industrial zone, or residential blocks. I would love to see this mall have a second wind and make a comeback, but as we go deeper into an economic crisis, I just cannot see this mall making it for much longer. I'd give it about 2 to 4 years at best. But once again, we can only wait and see. That is just about it for the Lycoming Mall in Pennsylvania. I want to thank you for joining me on this walkthrough. What did you think of the mall? Love it or hate it? As usual, share your comments down below, after dropping a like and subscribing, of course. Maybe someday I'll come back around to see how this mall's coming along. You never know. Of course, I still have plenty of mall content to share with you guys. A year's worth at this point. We have so much to see and so little time to see it. We gotta keep moving. Thanks for having me, Lycoming County. And until next time, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you and the Lycoming Mall farewell and good luck in this mad, mad, mad world. Great, I missed the car show.